What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. As promised, I am back with another video about Update 3.0, or this mysterious image that Funcom has been tweeting out. Now, since I uploaded my last video about the hidden message that was actually in that symbol, I know you guys, if you didn't watch it, you need to go watch it because I revealed words that were in that symbol. I'll put a link to that in the top right hand corner of this video so you can pause this one, go watch that one, and then come back and watch this one. But today we're going to go through your comments on what you think might be in Update 3.0. Now, since that video, Funcom has announced a live stream on the 21st of June where they're going to at least talk about something. I mean, it doesn't say that they're going to talk about 3.0 necessarily, but they are going to make some kind of announcement, and that's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at their Twitch, and I'll link that in the description of this video in case you're not following them and want to check it out. You can do that live. If you don't happen to catch it live, I will have a recap here on my channel, so you can tune in for that after the live stream. So let's jump into your comments, and the first one that I'm going to bring up was actually the first one that was posted on the video. This comes from Greg Morris. It says, "I hope you've secretly been testing stuff." I know, NDA, shh. All I have to say to you, Greg, is I too hope that I'd been secretly testing stuff. Okay, so the rest of these are in no particular order. I'm just going to pick out some to read, and then I'll talk a little bit about that comment. So Decker writes, "I think we're going to sacrifice thralls for stats. This way, the more talent the thrall has, the further the chest slider can go." Now, obviously, he is making a little bit of a poke at my video, but he does bring up something that happens to be a general thread throughout all these comments, since Funcom did say power demands sacrifice. There is going to be some kind of sacrifice, and we could go through all the different sacrifice ideas that are out there, but the Thrall one seems to be the most popular among the players. So people are okay with sacrificing Thralls to get more power. Now, while this would be an interesting concept, I'm not sure that's the route that Funcom's going to do, especially since they're talking about sacrifice, and it seems like players are just kind of okay with those thralls going by the wayside and no longer being existent in the exiled lands. They're like, hey, take my thralls and give me power. So I think we're going to see a little bit more than that. The other thing is, it doesn't actually say that it's player sacrifice. You could be interrupting a sacrifice for all I know and gaining power from that interruption, or you could lose something that you really hold near and dear, like your character build. You may have to give up stats in order to get massive power. I don't know, and we're going to find out more when Funcom gives us information on the 21st. TrueFX says, "I think it'll be like WoW did in one of their expansions, where everyone on the server had to come together to accumulate enough kills to open a portal to a new area." Now, this is an interesting concept because we've actually seen Funcom do some events where they wanted people to rack up as many kills as possible, and in return they handed out some armor pieces and I believe a saddle for reaching that goal. So there may be something to that. I don't think though that that's all we're going to see in 3.0. Sean O says, "I'd be happy if they just fixed the consistent glitches." Now, this is something that I think Funcom has been working towards and maybe missing the mark for a long time, but they've definitely been working towards fixing consistent glitches, or fixing glitches and bugs and different things like that. I don't think I've read a set of patch notes where there haven't actually been fixes involved, and I think with the amount of time that we've been waiting for Update 3.0, there should be plenty of fixes in there. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't introduce new bugs to the system, but hopefully they're in a better situation now than they have been in the past. GViking85 says maybe a way to sacrifice your level 60 character to start over slightly stronger. Now, this is something that I've actually talked about in the past. I don't know that I've ever made a video about it, but I've talked amongst my friends about the fact that it might be interesting if there was a prestige type system in Conan Exiles. Obviously, that brings up all sorts of possible issues in the PvP world where you could come across someone who just no-lifes the game and has a crazy strong character in comparison. But it still is an interesting concept and something that could be fun inside the Exile universe. Fremduck says it's simple. They are adding time events to the game to engage players. We may see the last paid building DLC. They are likely moving the team into the Dune survival game, expecting that one around the part 2 of the Dune movie. Don't expect them to keep developing more content for this game, as over the last 2 years they significantly slowed down development. Last major update plus DLC was over 8 months ago. Now, it's interesting because he starts with the adding timed events to the game, which I think is a really good strategy for games. Adding timed events brings those people back. I know a lot of you may play Destiny or know someone that plays Destiny, and when they come out with those new seasons, it is like a mad rush to get in there and get that different loot and complete that season before that loot's totally gone. Now, I don't think that Conan Exiles should go down the loot route. I don't think there should be loot that is limited, but possibly the ability to get recipes that are limited. That might be something that I could get behind. And I've actually mentioned timed or limited events in the past in one of my videos, and I still stand behind that being a really good idea to bring players back to the game, even if they're just playing for that event. Now, on the other half of this comment where he thinks they're all going to move to the Dune survival game, I've heard many times that there's a totally different team working on the Dune survival game. So while people may move around from department to department within Funcom, I don't see them dropping Conan Exiles entirely, especially after making it a live service game and being able to continue to sell DLCs. Now, this isn't a plug for you guys to run out and buy DLCs or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But if we look at this from a business point of view, if you want a business to continue doing something, you spend your money with that business. So if you're someone that wants to continue to see DLCs being developed for Conan Exiles, when those DLCs come out, you need to vote with your dollars and tell them to continue to make it. Lonely as Potato says, I think it will most likely be 4 new dungeons, one in each corner of the map that requires sacrificing your thrall to enter. And each reward for completing these dungeons is a new potion of endowment that works on female characters to make your boobs bigger than the default max settings. Now, obviously, he's being funny with the second half there, but the first half is actually quite interesting because he touches on a couple of things. He touches on the 4 different areas of the map that could be signified by the 4 different symbols on the image that's filling with blood. Now, the part about sacrificing the thrall to enter is also interesting because that would mean it is only going to allow you to complete that in a solo fashion. You wouldn't be able to enter with 2 thralls and sacrifice one at the door. You would have to sacrifice that thrall to get in, which means you're alone once you enter. And I think that might actually be kind of a cool idea to really test our mettle and test how good we are at the game. Nebadon says, I'm 99% sure that it's sorcery or at least a heavily sorcery-based dungeon or DLC. According to Conan lore, humans are one of the few races that are born without an affinity for magic, unlike the elder races, which means they have to make a deal with some sinister deity where they pay a price to gain power. Basically like a warlock in D&D, if that's a good example. Most sorcerers in the books also had some kind of corruption or twisted weirdness due to that sacrifice / deal for power, or were corrupted through using it. Also, the symbols are of Archeronian origin, a culture that mostly relied on magic and the use of necromancy. Now, I know it took a long time to get to magic or sorcery in this video because, well, I kind of avoided it as much as possible because that's been the running thread of thought up until the newest information, the power demands sacrifice. Now everybody is kind of on a sacrifice kick and wondering what component of the game that actually refers to. Now, you all had amazing comments. There wasn't enough time in the video to cover them all. I could sit here reading comments for hours and hours and discussing them in this video, but a lot of them ran across the same line of thinking, and so I just picked the comment that I felt best represented what everyone was trying to say collectively. Now, I want to leave you with a tweet from Dennis, who is the lead designer for Conan Exiles, and he says, "Remember when I said nobody has guessed what the update is? It's still true that nobody has guessed everything in the update, but some people have guessed some of it. Let the speculation bit continue." Okay, so as you guys may remember, he actually said that to me in the interview that I did with Dennis a while back. He said nobody had guessed what it was. Now he's saying that nobody has guessed everything in the update. So some of what you've written in the comments of the last video I did, or some of what you've heard in this video, may actually be coming in update 3.0, and I'm excited to see what it actually is on June 21st. Hopefully you'll join me in watching it live on Twitch, and then also join me for the recap that I do afterwards. I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for your continued support. Y'all are absolute legends. If you'd like to become a legend, there's a button that says join on this page. Click that for details. There's 2 videos on the screen. Click one of those to watch next, and I'll meet you over there.